Hello and welcome back to another episode of Uncontested Investing. I'm your host, Nate Zielinski, and today I have the pleasure of sitting across from a great guest, somebody I had the pleasure of meeting before on the trade show circuit, and that is Kurt Power from Quest Trust. Kurt, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm glad that Bob Rakowski put us up to this.
Nice.
I've had a great time working with RCN over the years, yourself in particular, and I'm excited, man. Let's get to it.
Shout out to REI Inc. and RCN Capital for bringing us to the studio today. That's actually right where I want to start because that's where we met at a trade show, and not really a topic that's been touched on much, if I'm being quite honest, on this show as I've taken over. How important do you think trade shows are for investors? A lot of times people are so focused on, their neighborhood, their surrounding area, their next deal. They forget about the bigger picture sometimes. And I think that's what a trade show can provide. Can you talk about some of the positives that can come from that?
I think the basic terms you look at what a trade show provides, it kind of brings it all together and it makes it real. Because we drive by real estate all the time. We see different things. But many times we don't know the actual people that are doing these things, that are building these buildings, building homes, doing whatever it is they're doing in the industry. So I think that if you're looking for the action, there's no better place to find it. It's a captive audience. It's captive businesses that are there. Everybody's there for the common goal. Mm-hmm. How can we all prosper together? And that's what I learned early on in this industry. I cut my teeth in the event side, and I had a lot of perceptions of what real estate was. And what I found getting into it was, everybody here wants to help each other. That's the cool part about it. And there's no better atmosphere than doing that than at a trade show, at a conference where you're going to be immersed in it. Then you got to go apply it. But that's the end-all be-all training ground.
Yes. And I think, too, it can be an eye-opening experience for them in terms of this doesn't have to just be done in my, neighborhood, in my backyard, so to speak, right? Like this can be on across a couple different state lines, across the country. Like it really opens your eyes to all the opportunities that are out there.
As big or as small as you want it.
Yep.
So real estate is very local, but it's very big.
Mm-hmm.
So, cutting your teeth in your backyard, great. But eventually, if you want to scale and you want this to be your livelihood, you want this to be your legacy, which is what real estate can provide, you got to branch out.
Definitely.
You got to learn new skills. You got to learn new markets, new people. That's how you're going to keep going forward.
New people, you hit it right on the head there. One of the other things that I think is a common misconception for investors is that they have to do this all by themselves. We've heard that's a very lonely industry, right? It's a very, I got to get this deal before somebody else gets this deal, right? But you can actually have the opportunity to build out a team, work with other investors. Can you kind of talk about that teamwork aspect? And do you think that gives investors a leg up if they try to do that early on in their career?
I think it's the tried and true ultimate path to success. I don't remember who said it. I'm a literary nerd, but somebody said, no man is an island. We're meant to interact and engage with people.
Yes.
So while I've heard investors say it feels like a solo effort, it's not the case. Mm-hmm. You've got your network of people. You've got your partners. You've got your family. Hopefully your family's supportive of what it is you're trying to achieve. But the sooner you realize that you're not by yourself, the sooner you realize that these are people that genuinely want to help you because they've achieved success. And what success does when you have it, you can't wait to share it with the masses.
Exactly.
And that's the cool part about it. So if you're an introvert, get uncomfortable, learn to talk to people. And if you're so terrified of it, find the alpha male in the room and let them be your megaphone for you. Bring something to the table, though, but the key is networking. The key is teamwork. Is you don't know everything.
Yeah, that's perfect insight to kick off the conversation. I think, right? It's there's so many misconceptions, and like you said, people have fears that they just need to break down those walls. This is a very revealing industry, if nothing else, right? Like you can get found out pretty quickly.
Yep.
So the quicker you get adjusted, acclimated, and then as well find help. Because everybody needs that, all those stories of, I was struggling through my first parts of my career, and then that one breakthrough can just be the difference.
But also believe in yourself too. With that yes, it feels like you're alone. Yes, you lean on people, but it's the journey. It's the path to where you want to get to. So it's paying those dues and learning, and hopefully you learn from other people's mistakes. You'll learn from your own.
Yep.
But if you have the foresight of that's where I want to go, let somebody else make the mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah.
That's key.
And I think before you even know it, you can look up in this industry and suddenly you're the person in the room that everybody wants to talk to, and you attract people that want to learn more, and you can kind of be that beacon for them. So it is pretty cool if investors can have that full circle moment in their career, and it starts on the trade show floor.
And because you see people that are like, who would have thought that when you met me 10 years ago, did you ever imagine I'd be here?
Exactly.
And that's the cool part, because our peers and people that we work with, they see it in us.
Mm-hmm.
We may not see it because we're just inundated with what we're doing. We're trying to get better, trying to learn. But then you have that network of people that are like, you can do this.
Yeah.
You have this skill, this skill, this skill. All you need is this, and this is where I'm going to help you.
Exactly.
To your point, very giving industry, which shatters perceptions that people have.
Oh, mine included. I've only been in it for about just over 4 years, I think now. And I can say that it's opened my eyes, from the RCN perspective, just the education that we offer, the outreach, the community that we can provide and that we try to foster. I was pleasantly surprised to see that, even the preconceived notions that I have were gone within weeks or months.
Me too. Because I grew up in a small town in Iowa, 175 people, and you're brought up believing that the wealthy are crooks, they're cheating somewhere, they're not really happy, they're all these misconceptions. And then once you're on the inside, you really see that, no, do those type of people exist? Sure.
Yes.
That's in every walk of life. But by and large, my experience has been, if you bring value and you're not looking for a handout, bring value, you're willing to work, you've got ideas, you're coachable, people are going to gravitate towards that. So that's a key thing. And to your point, it does start on the trade show floor for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You get humbled very quickly, but it's going to raise your level in the long run.
Yes, and that's what, they're all there for. We're off to a roaring start here. I appreciate that. That was a great insight, so thank you. Another common ground that we have is I came from a journalism background, fresh out of college. I wanted to be a broadcast journalist, write for newspapers. I ended up working for...
Me too.
Yeah.
Same dream growing up.
I worked for a ticketing company, and then kind of backdoored my way into work for RCN Capital. It changed my life. Can you talk about coming from a different background and, expand on, what your background is and how you think that previous work experience has helped you transition into this industry?
I don't know that I would have had whatever level of success I've had in real estate. That's for other people to decide. I think I've done well, and the reason why I was able to do well was starting in the fitness industry. I was the bigger kid growing up. You get made fun of, all that kind of stuff, and then you discover weights, you discover bodybuilding, and my heroes growing up were Arnold, Stallone, and Hulk Hogan.
That's awesome.
If I could be one of those three, that was a win. But I started my fitness journey in 2001. I was 19, and I fell in love with it and became a competitive powerlifter, competitive strongman. My first job out of college with a sports management bachelor's degree, my goal was similar to yours. I wanted to write for the paper. I wasn't going to be able to play center field for the Pirates, so I could at least write about the Pirates.
Yep.
But I fell in love with the gym. I fell in love with the process. And I became a personal trainer, worked my way to fitness manager. I'm happy. Well, I shouldn't say happy. I've been married twice. Both my wives I met at the gym. I'm not married two people at the same time. I want to make that clear. But that's a joke I like to mention. That's before I met with my spouses. But what I learned in fitness was when I had success, it's the same thing in real estate. I wanted to share it with everybody. And the ultimate way for me to give it back was hands-on training them. How that's allowed me to have any success in this industry, fitness is very entrepreneurial. Even if you work for a corporation, you got to set your own pace, set your own schedule. You got to run your own business. And I built mine through networking. I knew I had ambitious goals, but I didn't want to wait the long time to get it. So I started talking to Group X instructors. Can I watch your classes and monitor people's form? Can I hand my business cards out? Can you hand my business cards out because you have the credibility and I'm leaning on your credibility? So all the things we talk about in the industry of credibility, like, trust, respect.
Yep.
I learned all that being a trainer. And Tim Harridge actually said this on one of these episodes, and it's the words I've been searching for. The business is the vehicle, not the dream. My vehicle has been fitness and real estate. The dream has always been to try to help other people in whatever capacity. And what two better fields to do that? You're giving back to people through health. And then in this side, hopefully you can help them become wealthy.
Yes.
And happy and healthy and all those things. So different background, but it translates so well when it's about people. When you care about people, you want to help people and impact them. That was the correlation. And that's what's allowed me to have whatever level of success I've had.
Shout out to Tim. He's actually, he's coming back on for our 100th episode. We're recording it April. We're stoked for it. But yeah, we would
flying him up here.
Yeah, we wouldn't be. Yes, nice. Yes, he's coming to the studio. So these guys will get a treat. He's a character. And
he is.
I can't wait to see him again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, without him, we wouldn't be encroaching on that milestone. So back to the conversation at hand, though, because I think that's an important piece for people to hear. A lot of people come to this industry from other walks of life.
Sure.
You hear about, oh, my brother-in-law is investing in real estate, or, they hear something on CNBC, whatever news outlet that people like, or business outlet that people get their news from. And it always kind of seems like, a far-fetched dream, right? But if you really think about it, it's better if you start from a different industry and take your experiences and try to be successful in whether it's investing or on the other side, like you and me are. I just think that experience is so valuable.
I agree, and success is contagious. So when you have it in one area, you start to think, I can do more.
Mm-hmm.
There really are no limits. The only limits I have are what's up here. Many times when we have ambitious goals, you got to shoot for the moon. If you want to be ambitious and successful, whatever that means, whatever success is for you, whether that's giving back to your community, your family, etc., I think the odds are that will translate to something else. Fitness and real estate, very similar. I could look at journalism and real estate. It's all human interest things. Mm-hmm. It's all about people. Every industry, at the end of the day, is about people. So if you can succeed in one arena, more than likely you're going to succeed in the other one as well.
Very good insight. We're off to a great start here with Kurt Power on Uncontested Investing. We're going to take a quick break, give our sponsors a shout out. We'll be right back with the Money Making Minute. REI Inc. is the premier monthly publication for real estate investors. Dive into a wealth of expert insights and knowledge from industry leaders and gain valuable regional market insights, ensuring you always have the best information right at your fingertips. Visit REIInc.com to elevate your real estate investment game today. And we're back with more Uncontested Investing. My guest today, Kurt Power. He's going to have a great Money Making Minute segment for us. So, Kurt, what the goal here is to give our listeners a path to success in 2024 and beyond. That can be an investment strategy, maybe an app that you use that you think has made you more successful, a skill, or a habit or part of your daily routine. What can you attribute success to, and what can you, kind of relay to our listeners?
It might seem a little bit of a generic answer when I say this, because I don't have an app or statistics or a person you should follow. What I would say has allowed me to be successful, and what I would attribute it mostly to, is admitting what I don't know. And that was a big struggle for me for a number of years. I was VP of Investor Relations for Pinnacle Storage Properties, and I, as the VP of Investor Relations, I felt like I had to know everything. And my boss, John Manus, very astutely said, tell people what you know, but more importantly, tell them what you don't know, because you're going to build credibility with people when you tell them what you don't know. Bank that so you have it in your memory bank for the future. That's how you gain knowledge. That's how you share knowledge. But admit what you don't know. That gets you credibility. That gets you like, trust, and respect, and that's going to gain you business. That's going to gain you partners time and time again. Just be honest with people.
Getting away from the bottom line and the dollars that go into every deal. And there's so much more that can help you succeed than just being driven with money. So to hear that, and, I just talking to you in the few times that we've met, it's so clear to me that your passion is definitely, helping people grow, giving them resources for more information. So that answer actually lines up perfectly with.
I get excited. Tell people what I don't know, because I've seen it work firsthand. Going back to what John said, it was in front of the whole team. I sense some hesitation with you getting on the phone with people. You're right. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna give you the best advice you ever heard. Get over it. These are people that are happy to hear from us. Mm-hmm. They're looking forward to it. And then was the tell them what you don't know conversation. That's how you win that argument. Tell me you don't know. Simple.
And that's kind of the goal of mine as I transition into the host for Uncontested Investing, taking over for Tim. He certainly has light years more experience when it comes to strictly investing in real estate. But what I'm trying to do with this new era of the podcast is really just break down those barriers and, kind of talk about what can help people be more successful, right? Everybody can have those insecurities, those uncertainties. Some people may be listening to this podcast that don't even invest in real estate and they're just starting to think about it. So having answers like that where it can provide that aha moment or the I'm not alone moment, which I think both are just as important, it is huge to the success and the direction that I want to take the podcast.
Well, I think it's well stated, the plan and agenda that you have, because it's a gap. No disrespect to other real estate podcasts, but a lot of times it's about the business, it's about the numbers, it's about XYZ. But the business at the very fundamental level is still about people. So relationships, things like that, if you don't have those, the money's never going to come. But if you're honest with people, you work hard, you bring value, the money will be there.
And talking about people, 19,000 of them. I was doing some research on the website at Quest Trust. You guys have over 19,000 happy customers. So what's your mission there as you take that new role or you return to the company, as you mentioned? And what's your favorite part about your current role?
Everything with Quest comes down to culture. That's what attracted me to the company to begin with. You could see the staff, you could see the clients, you could see attendees at their events. Everybody's working very hard, but they're all having smiles on their faces. And that speaks to a culture where we all know what our role is and what our responsibility is. Our role is to elevate the industry, earn the respect of our peers. Most importantly, though, we want to be respected by our competitors for the way in which we do business. And though it's competitive, everything in this industry can be competitive, there needs to be some respect among that. So we strive every day to have the best customer service, to have the best customer experience, the best, fastest processing times. That translates to happy clients, which when you have happy clients, you have happy employees. Very important people know that. Happy employees doesn't necessarily translate to happy customers, but happy customers, more often than not, will make the company and the people happy as well. So
breakdown there,
lead with them.
Yep. And I think as we talk about, clients and deals, it's a great segue into the deal breaker and deal maker segment for us on the podcast here. So again, it can be personal experience or just things that you've witnessed as you've accumulated some years of experience in the industry. What has caused deals to break down? And then conversely, what has caused deals to succeed on a consistent basis? I think our listeners, again, kind of breaking down that wall of, not every transaction gets completed. It's not all talking about success here. There are things that break deals down that you need to try to avoid. And then, there's certain things that all successful deals have in common.
Believe it or not, I think the answer to both those questions is the same answer. I think it comes down to people. When we're talking about due diligence and things of that nature, we shouldn't just limit that to the deal that we're doing. We want to know the people that are involved with us. Who's the GP? Who are the limited partners? What's their track record? What's their success? Are they proactive or are they reactive? If you're with the right people, you probably are going to win the deal and have success. If you're with the wrong people, it could be game over on one deal. So you got to vet your people, and people would extend to in your personal life, your friends, your family. Make sure that your friends and family have your best interests in mind and are supportive of you. Because I promise you, the more on board they are with you, the easier your journey is going to be. So sometimes you got to prove people wrong, prove that it works, but just make sure you've done your due diligence on everybody involved. Partners, investors, friends, family, everybody. This is a full-blown journey that we go on, so we'll make sure we got the right people with us.
So another interesting answer there, and I think, the theme of the episode has kind of been, helping people and, having the right people around you. Is there anybody in particular on your journey that you can think back that's been a very instrumental, too many to name maybe, but we could
some high points for sure.
Yeah, we can narrow it to a top three if that's better, but kind of just giving a shout out to some of the people that you think have been most helpful to you.
For me in this line of work, in this industry, Eddie Wilson, Linda Hyde, jump right out at the start. I was new in the industry, and Eddie and Linda, I will attribute as much as whatever success I've had. It's the opportunities I was given early on. They were two of the people that were first to really go with me and support me and think and see more than just, a dude with a mohawk and some muscles. Mm-hmm. There's some brain, some intangibles there. They were the two that really saw that first. And I'm grateful to them to this day. John Manis is the other one. John Manis is, I would say, almost solely responsible for the last 5 years of my career. I went to work for him coming from Kansas City to Houston, believing in him, believing in his team. John's a guy that, though I don't work for him anymore, to this day we are friends. He's a mentor. He's a brother. He's somebody that I lean on in good times. He's definitely somebody I lean on in bad times. He's, again, about people. It's the right people in your life that have your best interests in mind, and those three, without fail, whether I've listened to them or not, they've had my best intentions in mind. They want the best for me, whether I've seen it or not.
Yep. And that kind of goes back to, trade shows, networking events. I think people in the industry may be able to find those people that they can lean on, right? Going into a new venture can be a little bit intimidating. Maybe the people in your life obviously want to support you and see you do well, but it's one thing to have those people, and then it's another thing to have experienced professionals in the industry that you can go to for advice. It's kind of that next level.
There's support, and then there's guidance.
Yes.
The people in our lives, we want them to support us. We hope that they do. It's the people that are doing this every day that we want to learn from that are going to guide us on that. They're both important. You can't flip a coin and say one's more important than the other. You got to have both.
That's a great breakdown. I love that. I love that. Hopefully we clip that, and that's part of the promo video. That was a good answer. We're going to take a quick break here. Sponsors have a quick word to say. We'll be right back to wrap it up with Kurt Power on Uncontested Investing. Whether you are pursuing long-term or short-term ventures, RCN Capital has a wide range of loan programs that will help you reach your financial goals. We have loan programs for fix and flips, long-term rentals, new construction, and even multifamily properties. And don't forget to ask about our Platinum program for very experienced investors. To learn more about our loan programs, click the link in the bio or send an email to info@rcncapital.com today. Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Uncontested Investing. I'm joined here with Kurt Power. Kurt, we've had a powerful conversation right on cue, today. So I thank you for your time. The next direction I want to take this conversation, though, something that I ask every guest that comes and sits across the table from me. This industry can be very time-consuming. Before you know it, your week has been eaten up by meetings, calls, deals, and you may have missed that date. You may have missed your kid's softball game, whatever the case may be, right? So do you have a passion project or a why for you that kind of helps guide you through this industry, maybe something outside of work that helps you hit that reset button or recharge the batteries, and that you think that makes you more successful in this industry?
Yeah, it's animals, dogs in particular. I've been working for 6 years to launch a nonprofit to pay 100% of medical costs, specifically for larger breed animals, mastiffs, Great Danes, things like that. Because I had 2 mastiffs, and they're very costly. But animals really above all else, dogs in particular. I become a kid when I see dogs. I talk to dogs like they're kids. I talk to kids like they're adults. I'm not very good at that, but I'll lose my mind and become a kid when I'm with dogs. So how that helps is it's an extension of helping people. You're helping helpless. Like, dogs can't talk. Mm-hmm. We're their voice. So when you get to go to a shelter and you spend a day with these animals, or you go take them on walks and you give them a good day, that fills you with so much joy and passion that it's very easy to then go back to the office and want to do a great job, because they're the embodiment of love, dogs. So when you get to feel that reciprocation, you can't wait to think, again, you're sharing it with everybody. Yeah. I want to share that feeling with everybody. So one of these days I'm going to launch the nonprofit. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Is there anything like in the works that you can promote or plug right now? I'm sure there's a bevy of dog lovers that are hopefully listening to this episode
Just stick by me.
Yeah.
Stick by me. I'm working
behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. It'll start small, but the goal is to eventually be able to pay 100% of all of their medical costs. We'll start with spay and neutering and go from there.
Yeah.
Nobody should ever have that difficult discussion of, do I pay all of it? Do I pay half of it? Do I not pay it? Let it be taken care of and use your budget.
Yeah. As a pet lover myself, I think that's extremely admirable. I'm glad I asked you that question because I did not know that about you previously, but that's a very powerful mission there. Good job. And good luck to you for sure.
Thank you.
The next thing I want to cover is, as somebody that's come over from the fitness industry, we've talked about this on a number of episodes of people coming from a profession and then transitioning into real estate. So was there ever a time that you had doubts that maybe you made the wrong decision, that you wanted to, do a quick U-turn and go back to fashion? Because there's a lot of, for our investor listeners specifically, I think they're deciding whether or not to take that leap of faith to start investing, maybe quitting their 9-to-5 job to focus on investing full time. There's a lot of apprehension there. And then maybe, the first deal isn't as lucrative as they thought. And they're like, oh crap, what did I do? So, did you have any doubts, and how'd you overcome that?
I have doubts to this day, and I'm not alone in that. I've talked to some of the most successful people in this industry, and that's been echoed. Coming from fitness to real estate, I went into it with an open mind, didn't know what to expect. We were working specifically on events and things like that. So I looked at it as, okay, it's going to be fun. Well, why not? Life's too short. Try things. Overcoming doubts is a constant thing, because if you have ambition, passion, you're goal-oriented, there's always, you climb the mountain and you think you made it, and now you're at the top and you look out and you're like, oh God, there's a bunch of other mountains for me to go. What can I do now?
Yeah.
And you're going to go through that doubt cycle again, because new is uncomfortable. New brings out those insecurities. But I always look at it like this. We are the story we tell ourselves. So if we're doubting ourselves, then we got to trick ourselves to thinking that we're already there, that we're on top, that we've done this a million times, even though we haven't. You got to have those conversations, that mental psychology with yourself, and look yourself in the mirror and know you can do it.
Yeah, that's extremely important to have that realization that, people have been in this position before. They've powered through, it's attainable, it's achievable.
We're all human
right?
beings.
Exactly.
Exactly. It can be a defense mechanism when we're afraid, but make no mistake, something's going to come up that we haven't seen before, or that we're a little, that's
sometimes getting out of your own way is the most important
100%
step to success, right?
100%.
So for people that have helped you along the way, John Manus was definitely a name that you decided to single out. Do you want to expand more on his role in your life as a mentor, or somebody that's helped you with that guidance side of things?
For sure. John's the most honest human being I've ever met, and that can rub people the wrong way. I love it, because I want to know where I stand with people, and John's willing and able to let you know. But the education I got working for John at Pinnacle, it was a PhD in investments, how people pick investments, why they do it, what are they looking for, how do we buy properties, how do we underwrite them. That is really where everything started to click in terms of understanding the mechanics of the industry. That's what allowed me at Quest to have the success I had instantly, because I could speak the language. I understood exactly what they were looking for, and I could speak intelligently to it. Didn't have to be an expert, but I had to at least know what their desire was and speak to it, and then speak to how self-direction can help. So, John, if you watch this, I love you, pal. Thank you. You keep giving back to me to this day. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, we love that. Okay, and in that same vein of somebody that was a mentor for you, in your role in Quest now, are you seeking out training, teaching still? Are you still trying to learn, or are you at the stage where you are now the teacher and trying to help people and give back in that sense?
A little bit of both. I think to be a good teacher, you've got to keep learning because things change. I finished my master's degree in 3 weeks, so education is a pillar of my life. I believe wholeheartedly in it, whether it's higher education, academics, or whether it's what we do day in and day out. So I seek out opportunities to learn every day, and it makes you uncomfortable, but that's how you grow. In terms of mentoring people, I offer up that to anybody, but I learn from my mentors. If you want to be mentored, you've got to be the one that's proactive. seeking them out, not the mentor going to the mentee. So in this role of business development and 10 years in the industry and a network that I'm grateful to have, I have a lot of insight that I can share with my team about how to be successful and how to be proactive, how to be humble, how to, again, say what you don't know and don't be afraid of that. Embrace it, because that's going to give you credibility. So it's all a continuum of learning, because we have to. There's always going to be new people. There's always going to be new things. There's always going to be new products. So if we want to be good teachers and good stewards of the industry, then we have to learn it too.
Yes.
Keep learning.
Those guideline changes at RCN Capital, they're ringing in my head right
Exactly.
now. So yeah, you got to stay on your toes. You got to be adaptable. And it really is, you're either growing or you're dying. I hate to be so grim in that regard, but sometimes that's,
it's 100% true.
The metaphor that hits home, right? It's either one or the other.
Yep. If you're in that middle ground, you're kind of in purgatory, because you haven't overcome those doubts you have yet, and you'll eventually be your own worst enemy.
Yeah. So in terms of that, is there like a platform that you use as an avenue, or is that kind of just, through osmosis with your team that you work with? Or do people, you have people that seek you out and ask you for advice? How are you kind of dictating?
Kind of a mix of all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with somebody newer on the team that somebody will say, well, you need to talk to Kurt because he's done this, this, and this. And you're wanting to do this and this. A good guy to have. There's nothing really formal. Sometimes we have mandatory trainings and things like that just are inherently mandatory or structured. But those kind of impromptu conversations sometimes are the ones where you really dig what the person's trying to do. You find those answers because it's just casual, and the guard goes down, and now you can really help somebody. You can really help mentor them. And that's what I look for in mentors of mine. It's who's going to tell me not what I want to hear, who's going to give it to me straight, who's going to tell me what I need to hear in this moment and going forward. So it can be a little aggressive, but I would suggest that it'll make you better in the long run.
Awesome.
To know exactly where you stand, that allows you to know where you want to go.
That transparency can be the key to success, right? If you're not getting those direct answers, those honest answers that can actually impact you and change you for the better, then you're running the risk of not being successul at the rate that you want to achieve.
Well, we know inherently when we're falling short. It doesn't feel good.
Yes.
And if I got somebody telling me, no, you're doing better than I expected, it's like, come on. I know I'm not. Come on.
So you've talked about Quest Trust a few times now. How important and how focused are you on this current role? Is there anything that you have in the works at Quest that you're thinking about next steps in your career path or your journey, or anything that you're working on that you're particularly passionate about right now there? Yeah,
I mean, being in business development at this stage of my career, to me it's where I belong with the network I've accumulated over the years, and we're in such a specific area of the industry with self-direction, but yet we touch all asset classes of the industry. So for me, it's always about how can we take a company like Quest that's been around for 20 years, that's a nationwide company, what's the next evolution of that? And with the way that the banking industry has been for last year, 2 years, we've had to do some pivots as a reaction in anticipation of where the market's going. So we're always going to lead with education. We have a massive event coming up in June, the Quest Expo. There's going to be 1,000 attendees there. Truly one of the best alternative asset conferences in the country. 2019 Quest Expo was when I realized I wanted to work for Quest, and it was at their expo because I saw that they were doing conferences better than organizations I'd been a part of in the past, and that wasn't their full-time position. Yeah. That's what was so crazy about it, and the people I got to meet. So in my role, I want to give back to my team. I've been the guy that's traveled 200 days a year, lost marriage for that in the past. That's the price you pay. Hopefully it doesn't happen for them, but it's their turn. It's their turn to get the network. It's their turn to do the traveling. It's their turn to get all the buzz and excitement. I still like it, but I don't need to do it 200 days a year anymore. I can do it once a month. I can fly in here for an opportunity like this and bounce and leave. That's where I am in my career and my life, is taking advantage of that, and how can I help them get to where they want to go. Yeah, and for that Quest Expo, is that in Houston? It's going to be in Dallas. So Dallas, okay. At the Irving Convention Center, Irving, Texas, just outside of Dallas, June 27th to the 29th.
Has it sold out? Can people,
No. We got plenty.
Yeah, nice.
We got plenty of tickets. You go to questtrustcompany.com, hit the resources tab, go to Quest Expo. All the information's there, ticket prices, sponsorships, etc.
Very cool. And what's kind of like the profile? Is it, anybody that's, on the fringes of thinking about an investment career? What's the profile of attendee that you're trying to target there?
The nature of events, I don't care what event it is, it's going to attract some new people that have never done anything. And we shouldn't, and we don't want to disrespect them because we were all there once. But the profile of the 1,000 people, though we are a self-directed IRA custodian, there's an IRA slant to the conference. There just is, because that's who we are. But this event is for anybody, whether they use an IRA, or they use their own personal funds, they use other people's money. It's truly for everybody. So you'll get some new people that have never done anything. Again, nature of business, of events. But by and large, these are people that are active investors in their IRA, active investors in their personal funds, or ideally both. And you'll see all of that at the expo.
Great. All right. So speaking of things that we need to hear, I think the last and most important question
this is the
podcast. Yeah, you have ties to Houston and Kansas City in your professional career. So as somebody that wants to go to Kansas City and sample the barbecue, I need to hear it, or maybe you can confirm it. Who has the best barbecue between the two?
Between the two, it's Kansas City. And between Kansas City and the world, it's Kansas City. There is no better barbecue anywhere in the world. I don't care if you're in Memphis. I don't care if you're in the Carolinas, Texas. Kansas City is the barbecue capital of the world. It always has been. It always will be. And when you go to Kansas City, you go to Jack Stack, which is fine dining for barbecue.
Okay.
And then if you want to get some old school, go to Q39 or Joe's Kansas City. Those are the three best in the city.
All right. Well, when I plan my next trip, I'm going to watch this episode back and jot those notes down. Yeah. Kurt, thank you so much. This was a great episode. The conversation was just so easy. So I thank you for taking the time out of your schedule, taking the flight up to New York City, sitting down and, help giving our listeners what they need to hear, what they want to hear. Hopefully everybody leaves this conversation a little bit better for it. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We'll be in touch. I hope our paths cross later on in the year. But thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So for our uncontested invested listeners, this is Nate Zielinski signing off. We'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you for listening to Uncontested Investing. Questions about today's episode or the podcast? Email podcast@rcncapital.com and make sure to follow REI Inc. magazine on LinkedIn and Facebook, and RCN Capital on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. See you all next time.